fears and nightmares that I create and which I must control.
Hi, and welcome back. If you're a fan of mystery shows, you're in for a treat. From crime procedurals to psychological thrillers, these shows will keep you guessing until the very end. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained by some of the best mystery shows on 2022. Number 10, In From the Cold. Single mother Catherine Corby's life in suburban New Jersey is thrown out of balance when the CIA arrests her and forces her to make a selection. Choose to face her long-buried past as a highly trained, bioengineered Russian spy, and serve as a mole to expose Russia's criminal activity in America and shadow war against U.S. elections, or risk imprisonment and financial loss for her family and her new life. In From the Cold has a 6.2 rating in IMDb and a 64% in audience score in Rotten Tomatoes.
For your personal vendetta. Becca! When this is all over, do I get to go back to my real life?
I don't know.
Number 9. Chloe. Becky remains stuck in the temporary position of temp, comparing her seem like those constantly abused in social media. Constantly returning to one profile, Becky obsessively watches Chloe's apparently perfect life. If Chloe unexpectedly passes away, Becky will focus her interest in finding out the circumstances surrounding her demise, while developing a new identity to gain access to her friends in Chloe's tight-knit social circle. By playing through her alter ego Sasha, Becky becomes an assertive, shape-shifting heroine, a popular, well-connected someone who is better and more interesting than the no one she is as Becky. The confusion soon obscures and conflates reality though, and Becky gets caught in the game she's playing. Chloe has a 6.6 rating in IMDb and a 62% in audience score in Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't know. She called me. She called me. I just thought I knew what her life was.
Number 8. The Midwich Cuckoos. A small English commuter town known as Midwich is middle-class and worldly, populated by families and affluent streets. It's a place not much happens. That is until the subsequent twilight hours of the daytime when the sleepy corner of Midwich comes up in a spot of panic. Folks collapse typically without warning, and at any place, anyone attempting to explore meets a similar fate. Once the blackout is confirmed, life returns for those that are affected to what seems to be normal. With the only notable exception, nearly every adult female of the childbearing age within the area suddenly and inexplicably develops the receptacle. After the unfolding of events becomes known, it's left up to Dr. Susanna Zellaby to aid those who are distressed. Susanna's own daughter, Cassie, has fallen pregnant, and Susanna is troubled by the possibility of a foe. Local officer DC Paul Haynes is tasked with maintaining order, but unbeknownst to all of them, a terrifying force is building in Midwich. These children, potential parasites, flourish under the very love and care that their families provide. Who are they, and what is their purpose? The Midwich Cuckoos has a 6.6 rating in IMDb. Number 7. Murderville. The story revolves around a police detective named Terry Seattle who must investigate cases that are occurring on a regular basis. In the second investigation of the day, has a substitute independent whose mission this is always to help Terry during the investigation. Murderville has a 6.8 rating in IMDb and a 76% in audience score in Rotten Tomatoes.
There's been a murder. Whoa!
Supposed to gasp. Weird gasp.
Number 6. The Patient. Therapist Alan Strauss is held captive by a patient, Sam Fortner, who reveals himself to be a perpetrator. Sam has a hot, dangerous compulsion for Alan, alleviate his homicidal inclinations. In order to survive, Alan is going to have to perhaps counteract Sam's unsettled mind and prevent him from annihilating again. However, Sam flatly refuses to address tough topics, including his mother, Candace. Alone in captivity, Alan revisits his old memories via the memories of his former physical therapist, Charlie, and grapples with waves of repressed issues. The recent death of his wife, Beth, and the painful estrangement from his religious son, Ezra. Alan realizes that the depth of Sam's fixation proceeds throughout his sentence. He also learns just how much work he'll have to do to restore the relationship between his father and himself. The Patient has a 7.3 rating in IMDb and a 79% in audience score in Rotten Tomatoes.
Anything like fear hanging over every session.
Number 5. Sherwood. Two highly suspicious and shocking murders tore apart an already fragile community, leading to one of the largest manhunts in British history, while also skyrocketing tensions between contrasting generations. Sherwood has a 7.4 rating in IMDb and a 65% in audience score in Rotten Tomatoes.
An undercover cop in the village. I know the potential to inflame divisions in the community. This place remembers.
Number 4. The 7 Lives of Leah. Adventuring around Cell, a young woman who mysteriously wakes up in the 1990s of the 1900s. This doppelganger occurs after discovering the body of Ismail, a teenager who disappeared 30 years previously. From then onwards, and having gone back to 1991, Cell wakes up every morning in the body of another person. It will be then that he decides to begin an expedition to try to figure out the reason for Ismail's disappearance in order to prevent this from happening. The 7 Lives of Leah has a 7.5 rating in IMDb and an 85% in audience score in Rotten Tomatoes.
If you Ismail.
Number 3. The Sandman. A story centering around protagonist Dream, who, like his name indicates, is the embodiment of dream images. Through this story, we will learn more about various classical stories from the past and how people can learn from their mistakes. Dream is a resident of the family of beings known as the Eternals, which also includes fate, death, destruction, desire, despair, and delirium. Roderick Burgess, a human seeking death to revive his son, comes in contact with Morpheus one day and holds him up at gunpoint. Luckily, he manages to lock up the King of Dreams before collecting all of the 3 precious items he requires: the sand, the ruby, and the helmet. Several years later, he is released and undertakes a journey through several different worlds to access the past 10 years' worth of power lost. Of them, Hell, where he will have to face Lucifer in a fierce mental battle, or Earth, where the precious ruby is being abused for terrible functions. The Sandman has a 7.7 rating in IMDb and a 80% in audience score in Rotten Tomatoes.
Dreams don't die.
Number 2. Why Her? The youngest partner at teak law firm Osoo-jae has demonstrated before she is one of the nation's top legal professionals. Driven by her self-righteous policies and an unceasing desire to win, she is pursuing success at the firm. But when one event necessitates an abrupt about-face for Soo-jae, she must make sure to bear the brunt of it. When Soo-jae has been demoted at work, she has to accept the role of adjunct professor at a local law school. Despite being compelled by necessity to put her career back on track at the start of a new position, Soo-jae is very determined to regain her former position at the accounting firm, and her dismal prospects make up her mind that this is not gonna happen. Only after meeting Gong Chan, a student who frequently crosses paths with Soo-jae, does the pain start to decrease. Despite his pain of the past, Gong Chan's caring heart remains unfaltering, as his love for Soo-jae deepens daily. Despite the way Soo-jae struggles to return the company's good graces, she continues to be irresistibly enamored of Gong Chan. Will Soo-jae's resolve and Gong Chan's support be enough to restore her position, or will the powers that be continue to press her down? Why Her has a 7.8 rating in IMDb.
꺼져. 내 말 안 듣고 안 믿을 거잖아.
난 너 믿어.
교수님한테 숨기고 있는 게 있어요. 보수죄였어. 보수죄를 다시.
Number 1. Through the Darkness. The citizens of Seoul were gripped with a fear in the early 1990s after a series of brutal assaults and killings occurred. An unknown force disguised as a boy was stalking females the streets, murdering them without provocation. He ritually moved quickly, making it impossible for the detectives to predict the next moves. In contrast to most other law enforcement agencies, the FBI has employed criminal profilers in the past to identify and capture serial killers. Hence, the head of the Criminal Behavioral Analysis Team, Susan Young-soo, recruited Song Hae-young, a reserved, quiet, perceptive former detective, for the task. Gook believes that this new psychological approach will give the police an edge during the latest wave of murders of red caps and will end his spree of killing. Murder expert Yeongu and the detectives who are investigating her keep from going to an uncharted territory of approaching this technique for help in capturing the killer. In order to quell their condescension, they need to show that this radicalism will increase their arrests. Does Song Hae-young have the ability to gain the trust of unfriendly criminals while regarding them as harbingers of noir? Through the Darkness has a 8.0 rating in IMDb.
여기서 멈추지 않을 겁니다. 반드시 잡을 겁니다, 그놈.
Do you like this video? Check others' videos here and subscribe to be notified about our most recent videos. See you next time. Goodbye.